In this video, we're going to speak about understanding syntax. How do we understand syntax? Well, to some extent, the process is similar to word recognition, in that people look for outline clues and then actively reconstruct the probable message from them. But how do they do this? Well, some of them use perceptual strategies. This means that hearers use perceptual strategies to reconstruct the messages. They jump to conclusions on the basis of outline clues by imposing what they expect to hear onto the stream of sounds. For example, read to yourselves the sentence that you have here. Did you understand the sentence? Did you find something strange in it? Something odd? Okay, so your interpretation of this sentence can be like this. Anyone who cooks ducks out of the washing up. If you read it like that, you understand the word ducks meaning animal, the animal duck, yes? And so in that case, because you jumped to the conclusion that ducks means animal and they are cooked, yes, they are edible, this means, yes, that you will not understand the rest of the sentence. It will not make sense to you because you jumped to the wrong conclusion. But if you consider that ducks also has the meaning avoid, then the sentence automatically makes sense. Anyone who cooks avoids, yes, or yes, ducks out of the washing up, avoids to do the washing up. Do you see? So this jumping to conclusions, yes, this hypothesis that you make in your mind when you're reading or when you're listening to something, sometimes they lead you to the correct meaning. And sometimes, as you see, they are very dangerous because they lead you to a misunderstanding. This happens a lot when you are in an exercise of reading comprehension, for example. Because you read the title, you already jump to conclusions as to what the text will say. And then reading each sentence, you jump sometimes to conclusions, which is just a normal perceptual strategy and in general is very useful. But when you have a different idea in your mind of what the text should say, you are imposing what you expect onto the text. That is when you have mistakes. And that is also when you don't understand why they are mistakes, because you think that you interpreted correctly. But all what you were doing was imposing your own idea on the text. Do you understand? So these perceptual strategies, this jumping to conclusion and making hypotheses about how the sentence is formed and what it means, in general is very, very useful because we will arrive to the right conclusion. But sometimes, yes, it may hinder communication. It may lead to misunderstanding because you construct the meaning in an incorrect way. Now, in general, people tend to impose a subject-verb-object sequence when interpreting the sentence. Okay? You immediately, when you read a sentence and you expect this order, which is probably one of the parameters that you already have, yes, in your brain. So what happens when there is a gap? That is to say, a situation in which a word has been brought to the front of the sentence, leaving a gap after the verb. Let's see an example. If you have the sentence, Bill put the yellow bird in the cage, yes? This is perfectly clear, and this has the structure that you expect. Bill, the subject, put, the verb, the yellow bird, sorry, here, it's the object, and then you can add another element at the end, yes, for example, an adverbial. So you read this, and for you it's perfectly clear, and your brain is at peace. But let's have a look at the second sentence. Which bird did Bill put in the cage? Now you have Bill, the subject is here, you have the verb put, you have the adverb here, and the object is at the beginning. Now, in your brain, you're accustomed, you're used to having the object in this position after the verb, but it has been taken out of it, put in the front, leaving a gap here between the verb and the adverb. Do you see? So, what happens in your brain when you read the object first, which bird, and then you read the subject and the verb, etc.? Does your brain store the object, waiting for the occurrence of the verb, and yes, then putting the object after the verb, for example? Do you wait to see where the object will fit so that you understand the sentence? And in that case, this question would take longer for you to understand than the normal expected pattern. And we didn't mention that the verb is divided here and there is an auxiliary that is also in an odd place. The subject is in the middle of two verbal forms. This is very strange. So, what happens? What does the brain do here? Well, linguists don't know yet. They don't know. They don't know how the brain works as regards, yes, arranging these anomalies. But you see, what you can see is that it gives, yes, it gives the brain more work, okay? Because this is not normal. Think of it this way. You know that it is an anomaly when it is hard to learn. When it is hard to learn. And this division of the verb and this way of starting the sentence with the object is a very, very difficult structure for students of English to learn. You probably had problems yourselves, yes, to make up your minds around this. Especially because in Spanish we do not have this division of the verb, yes, with an auxiliary in this way. We don't have this inversion that the English have. That's why it is so difficult for us. And because it's not the expected pattern, yes? So as you see, there are lots of things that are not yet clear for linguists about how we understand the language, the words and the way in which they are arranged. Okay, that's all for this video then, and I will see you in another video. Goodbye for now.